Okay, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it's Darrell, and we're here with one of the most exciting, I would say, candidates in District D, Miss Christina Sanders. Just off the bat, everybody thought we knew what the lineup was going to be, and then all of a sudden at the end, you decided to jump in the race. Tell us why you decided to jump in.
I don't know if that's how it went, but you know, first let me say thank you, Darrell, because it's really important that we have mediums like this to really communicate with everyone on Facebook and social media, but just communicate with people about what's going on in their community. So thank you for doing what you do. And I would say, you know, people keep saying that. It doesn't strike me as that. It strikes me as that I'm an American, I'm a policy person, I've been organizing in my community. I was born, raised, and bred in District D. I'm going to run to represent the people of my community. There's no time limit on this. It's just a matter of, you know, it's an open space for people who want to represent and feel like they can add value. And they should be encouraged no matter when they jump in the race.
Right, right. Another question, with you being so far into policy, you've been, I mean, that's the way that I got to know you way back in the day with the Houston Mayor's Youth Council. How does it feel to move from working on campaigns to now having your name on signs and lit and your picture everywhere?
It feels really weird. It's very different. You know, as an organizer, you don't really think about yourself being the candidate. You think about the work that has to get done, and you think about the people that it's going to impact if a law like voter ID goes into effect. In policy, you think about people, and so for me, always spending the last 11 years organizing, and the last 8 years in policy, I'm used to just really focusing on what I'm doing and keeping my head down and doing my homework. And it feels weird, but I think that you know, now doing it and being here as a candidate for District D, I just really feel like it's the space that could actually add more value and offer more conversation and more space to bring light to more of the work and get more people engaged. And so I think it's a good place to be in, and I'm really excited about this run. And it's just different, but it's still going to be for me about the people, the work, and the policies that need to be progressive to move us forward.
Okay. And I'm not sure if everyone else knows, like I do, that you were very involved. I remember seeing some pictures on Facebook and Instagram of you like at the White House with Eric Holder. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about like some of the work that you did there and what that was all about?
Well, that particular time with Attorney General Eric Holder was one of the briefings. So I've been invited to the White House to do briefings and to help advise the White House on what we can do to get young Americans and Texans involved in why courts matter, as well as you know, issues around justice. And I worked with Attorney General Holder first after the voter ID law. When the voter ID law was signed by Governor Perry, it was a very difficult thing that many people from our elected community, many people from our the organizations that we go to, they weren't really interested in fighting or taking on Rick Perry. And so our organization, or the organization that I'm the state director of, we organized young people and we took on Rick Perry unapologetically, and we successfully worked with other grassroots groups and the Attorney General to make sure that Texas voter ID law did not go into effect for the presidential election. That was the recent one with President Obama. And so, you know, that's where I've been spending most of my time, but that was a pretty interesting battle that led to some of the conversations on inviting me to talk about how they could do it again in other situations with groups that are doing it nationally.
Okay. And then to touch on your outreach and you being a very young candidate running for this office, one of the things that I look at, this election could be skewed. One of the things that I was looking at, Christina Sanders is going to attract the young vote. I know you're very involved with Texas Southern University, which falls in the district. And I mean, how are you going to position yourself? Where do you think how do you think you'll be able to reach them?
Well, you know, I'm very excited that Texas Southern, HCC, the University of Houston, they're all located in my district. And you know, I'm going to reach them like I'm going to reach, you know, the voter who's 65. I'm going to ask for their vote. I'm going to communicate to them, you know, on deserving the best. We deserve the best, and what we can do, and the vision that I have for the next 20 years. Because this isn't a campaign about the last 20 years. This is a campaign about the next 20 years. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to them like they're regular voters who pay taxes, and I'm going to make sure that a full faith effort is given to include them as young people, as the people we need to pay taxes in 20 years, in the conversation about governance and what we're doing for people in Houston. I'm going to make sure that they know I will do that for them in City Hall.
Okay. And then the last question, because I know you got ripping and running too. I know, and everyone else knows too, that Houston has a strong mayor type of government. But if you had the power, once you're elected and given that spot in January 2014, what would be one of the first things that you would bring to council if you could? If it was up to you, this is one thing that would pass.
Well, even though we have a strong mayor form of government locally, I'm really committed to, looking at the issues as they come to council as a whole. But I will say what I commit is to the people of District D to making sure we restore some of the things we need to have for our young people, like after-school programs that don't cost at the library, libraries open at hours when students are out of school, when young people need to be in the libraries and off the streets. I'll make sure that there's an advocate in City Hall an advocacy hall for the community, but also educating the community about what's going on in City Hall, because people in America should be making their own decisions.
Right.
And if they know better, they'll do better. And
Right.
I believe that, and I know that, and they shouldn't be blindsided by anything as their representative. I will let them know exactly what's going on and who's making it go on, and then I'll make sure that I'm there at the table for them and on their behalf. And so I don't know what I can do and what'll come up with the mayor. I know that I'm going to go and I'm going to have the idea and the heart to do the very best and have the interests of District D with me every single time at every single table when we meet as a council as a whole.
Okay. Well, YouTube, Instagram, everybody else, first talk with candidate Christina Sanders. This is going to be a very interesting race. You want to tell people where they can find you online and Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
Yes. I am the Polichick. I am the Polichic on Instagram and Twitter. Get at me. And you can find me at ChristinaForHouston.com. That's ChristinaForHouston.com. We want everybody to donate. We want people to be a part of the process by volunteering. And tell somebody about this campaign, about this race. And we've got to do better. We deserve better. And that's why I'm running.
All right. Couldn't have said any better.